And we are back live from the PlayStation booth at E3. We're going to talk about one of my most anticipated upcoming PlayStation VR games, and that is Creed: Rise to Glory. This one's incredible. Welcome, Survios team. Great to have you guys here. Wow, that's all I can say about this one. I had a chance to play this a couple of weeks ago. This is a very intense boxing game. Use dual PlayStation Move Motion controllers. The VR headset is a perfect fit for leaning, dodging. It's just an incredibly intense experience, and I have a funny feeling it's going to be a great workout, certainly for me.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I was huffing and puffing by the end of that demo, but I just wanted more. I mean,
we're going to make sure you're going to get your cardio in for
Yeah, exactly. So tell me a little bit about sort of what separates this from some of the other boxing games, the more traditional boxing games we've seen out there. I mean, VR just really opens up a whole new dimension here.
Oh, it absolutely does. I think, from the beginning for us, it was we wanted to really make Melee in VR feel incredible, right? That's really where we started as a starting point. So Eugene and myself for, several years now, we're like, we really want to do this, and we finally had the opportunity here to make hitting things and getting hit feel just incredible. And this is, we ended up coming up with this new technology, this new system that we call the Phantom Melee technology, and I'm going to let Eugene explain that in just a second. But the basic premise behind it is people have been trying to solve this in VR, but they've been doing it in ways where they're fighting the systems. And we really just had to embrace your game avatar and your player avatar as separate concepts. And as soon as we separated those and gamified it, that just unlocked the incredible features you see in the game today.
I mean, just real quick here, we're seeing some footage, and I just want to point out, you've got to keep your hands up in this game. That's a huge part of it. It really feels like you are boxing. That is the thing. It doesn't feel like it's sort of some artifice, it's some sort of artificiality to it. It really feels like you're waiting for him to expose his cheek. You see his jaw stick out, and you crack him with it. It's an incredible feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. When we set out to make this game, we really wanted to induce that fight-or-flight response. And with it, we didn't want to create something more of a punch-out, while we love punch-out, but we didn't want it to be the memorization of patterns and gesture-based. Oh, this is a duck. This is this is a slip. This is a punch. So we set out with the Phantom Melee. How do we make punching feel really good? How do we make dodging feel really good? And while it's not necessarily a simulation of a fight, we wanted to make it a cinematic experience. We wanted to be you inside a movie. You're Adonis Creed. And with it, the Phantom Melee allowed us to do that. It allowed us to separate you out, to sometimes see yourself in a third-person perspective. You can get hit so hard, you're knocked out of your body.
Yeah.
I know you're acting out yourself in this movie of you stumbling back, trying to catch your balance.
That's nice. So you're playing as Adonis, right?
You're playing as Adonis Creed.
So tell us the story about the game and what you'll be going through as you're playing.
So the story is not tied to Creed 1 or Creed 2. We worked hard. We worked with MGM to create its own story that resides in the Creed universe, which was great. It allowed us to craft the player experience the way we wanted to, the fighters we wanted to. In the end, it's all about the fight, and it's all about Adonis training with Rocky, training from an underdog to become the best fighter in the world.
Yeah, I think the main thing there is we really wanted to be authentic to the franchise, right? We are all fans of Rocky and Adonis and the films, huge fanboys. And the main thing for us is we wanted to expand upon the universe, not just relive exactly what you saw in the films. So the first film has already been out. The second one's coming out, I believe, around Thanksgiving later this year. Really stoked about that.
Awesome.
And so the opportunity we had to do working with the filmmakers and with Michael B. is that we got to flesh out some of his story that you don't see in the films, right? So we're actually going to go to some of the earlier fights that they talk about, but they don't show. Some content in between the two films. We're really excited about it.
That's really, really interesting. Can you also tell us a little bit about single player versus multiplayer?
Well, with multiplayer right now, we haven't right now we're focusing on single player. Multiplayer is something we're actively experiencing on, but we're not fully announcing anything yet.
So here we are. We just got knocked out of the body. This is what you were talking about earlier. And we are making these motions, like sort of running motions with
running back to your body.
Control, run back into the body, which is a super cool feeling. You guys had another game come out recently that used a motion like that as well.
That's right. That was our last product. That was actually called Sprint Vector.
That was a great game.
That project was all about solving locomotion in VR.
Yeah.
That was our focus. So it's about making, the disconnect happens when the mind and the body aren't thinking the same things. So as soon as we had the player pumping their arms, moving like they were ice skating, if you will, or cross-country skiing, that was the solve. That was the magic. And you see, now that we have locomotion, we're going to be using it in all of our projects going forward. So you see, as Adonis, he got knocked out by Rhino there. He punched him so hard, the ref was counting to 10, and the player has to rush back into his body before he gets to the 10 count. And of course, the more times you get knocked down, the harder and harder it's going to be to get back in time.
I love that you guys are really tackling like the big challenges in VR, the mechanics, developing a VR vocabulary for gameplay. It's something we don't always see, but you guys have really made some major progress here. So, I mean, just that feeling, we just saw it there. You actually physically put your fists out to touch gloves with your opponent. These kinds of things, I think, are really important in sort of grounding the player in the experience. And then, of course, you've got all this flexibility with how you block, you're dodging, you're doing combos. It's just a really satisfying, very, very special game.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward.
That was really the thing for us is, you know, there's a lot of amazing VR experiences out there, but we're really focused on active VR. You know, full body, moving around, and it's more immersive. It draws you into the experience. As soon as you're moving, you're fighting like you would in real life as a boxer. You're throwing a punch like you throw a real punch. You have to dodge. Hey, maybe I'm not as fit as I should be, right? Maybe I should get a little more cardio in and be able to get out of the way. But being able to block, being able to move, that's the magic of VR. This is something that you can't get in any other medium, and that's what the PSVR really allows us to do.
Yeah, it really seems like Creed is going to not just appeal to boxing fans, but just fans of gaming and VR as well, especially since you're so involved with the Move controllers.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't want to make, once again, a boxing simulator. We wanted to put an even playing ground for different people with different physical abilities. And then, for example, there's a mechanic in a game. It's called virtual stamina. Your character in-game has its own stamina. This solves multiple issues you could have in Melee. For example, people get in there and don't want to act like boxers. They just start slap fighting. We really wanted to prevent that. And hence, if you're really active and you're doing wrong moves that a boxer wouldn't do, your stamina starts lowering, your gloves become red, and then you start trailing behind you, and they become really, really weak hits. And it's really, it drives. It's not something we say you can't do that. You can do anything you want, but it drives subconsciously the player to perform certain actions. Like, you know what? Maybe I should block.
Get more tactical. Choose your shots. Just like a real fighter, right?
Exactly. You got to be strategic.
They learn it right away too. You see it as soon as you all of a sudden you feel that latency and your Adonis is not performing at as fast as you're moving in real life. Well, guess what? Your opponent's going to pop you in the face because your hand is lagging behind. The players learn that in 2 seconds. So it's like, wow, that didn't work. They stop that negative behavior, right? And soon as they stop that negative behavior, they start acting like I'm a real boxer. I need to defend myself. I need to block. I need to dodge. I need to take care of my stamina. I can't just throw punches nonstop for 5 minutes.
And you're going to get tired in real life, too, if you try it anyway. But yeah, no flailing in this game. This is a precise boxing game. I played it. I loved it. I think people are going to love it when it comes out. And you guys are targeting what time frame?
Fall of this year.
Okay, great. Well, it's on my radar. It's on my calendar. And we've all gotten a look here at Creed Rise to Glory. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for stopping by. You guys are VR stars in my book. We've got a lot more coming up all day long, live from E3. Don't touch that dial.
PlayStation